So, episode 4 of Dandadan, or Dandadan, or Dindadan, I don't know how to fucking pronounce it.
In previous episodes, Ken loses his dick to an elderly ghost granny that runs really fast for some reason.
Ken is also cursed by Turbo Granny and is stuck in some monstrous form that is depressed for some reason.
Unless Momo is nearby because she can suppress it for some reason.
To free him, Momo and Ken plan to kill Turbo Granny by challenging it to a race to trick it to go outside its territory.
Because for some reason it will die if it does that.
So they must go to the tunnel where Ken lost his cock, and then
And they find Turbo Granny as a giant for some reason.
And for some reason, there are two grannies blocking both sides of the tunnel.
Momo uses her telekinetic power she developed for some reason to throw bats at one granny. But for some reason, Granny's eyes are mouths and they are eat the bats.
So Momo unleashes the curse on Ken so he can fight back.
But then Granny releases him of the curse in that moment. And for some reason, gives his dick back too.
Just when they are about to get eaten, Momo remembers to taunt Turbo Granny and challenge them to a race.
Cause Granny got an ego!
Turbo Granny agrees and says they don't like cheaters for some reason.
Turbo Granny agrees to give them a 10-minute head start.
And then for some reason they count to 10 minutes but by 1 minute per second.
And then for some reason, only grabs and traps Momo immediately and decides to give Ken a separate 10 minutes to run.
She didn't even run at her, she just like summoned hands to grab her from the walls and shit. Then when she is about to kill Ken, he decides to start biting her breast for some reason.
And then for some reason she can't muster her strength because of her outfit.
And for some reason she decides to possess him again instead. Oh wait, it's like the evil spirit bulletproof vest from the previous episode. But if it doesn't protect him from being possessed, then what's the fucking point? Why doesn't she just smash a rock against his head?
And then she goes to start eating Momo, but then Momo uses her Ken curse suppressing powers on Granny.
And for some reason she gets forcefully transformed into a little snake thing. And for some reason Ken just unpossess him. Guess Ken will just start sucking her breast again, I don't know.
And then for some reason a giant crab comes out of the wall and prepares to attack them.
It's a location-bound spirit? I thought Turbo Granny was a location-bound spirit. I thought this episode was supposed to be about a race.
And then, for some reason, title starts playing about third away into the episode.
For some reason, they ran far down a highway before this thing was able to easily catch up to them. And they Ken asks why it's a crab, and I'm like, thank you.
And then Momo says, the dead turn themselves into freshwater crabs to cross the river Styx.
But they aren't crossing the river Styx.
And then, for some reason, the crab starts attacking a bear sign.
Oh wait, Ken can use the curse power, but for some reason Granny can't transform back? Because she's in Ken's shirt?
So they jump off a cliff.
Ken goes full throttle, which means he spins his leg for 3 seconds, and then they continue falling for some reason.
And for some reason, he can only go full throttle twice. Is this another low-key sexual innuendo thing? And then the crab catches up. So
they continue to run, and for some reason the scene turns into 3D.
Actually, it looks pretty good. Anime should do more 3D incorporation.
Momo says this is embarrassing for some reason. And then for some reason nobody else could see the giant crab, even though it's causing massive structural damage to the environment.
And then Momo says she doesn't want to get eaten by a crab because that's boar, but she would rather eat a crab instead for some reason.
Then they manage to boil the crab stiff in hot spring. I don't know, science or something.
And for some reason Momo's like, I want to eat it now. I guess because she's quirky. That's the reason.
And then for some reason, as they're running down a road, a crowd of monster people start running at them because somehow Granny was able to call them on their cell phones and ask them for help as a little snake.
So then Ken goes full throttle again. An action scene starts.
Then they try and do some animated background movement traditionally for some reason, and it looks terrible.
And then they switch to 3D for one shot on the giant crab for some reason.
And then for some reason, Ken untransforms as they are in the air for some reason.
So they fall.
But then he transforms as they land for some reason. But then
Turbo Granny transforms back because now Momo let go of her for some reason.
Why did she have to hold on to Granny?
Granny merges with the crab for some reason, which for some reason is no longer boiled.
Then Momo grabs.
But then Momo gives Ken
and then Momo grabs Ken
and then
grabs onto a passing train.
But then gives us the train specs and says Turbo Granny can't catch up to it.
But Turbo Granny catches up to it anyway for some reason.
Granny explains that trains aren't always going at full speed for some reason.
And I'm like, I don't care. Granny says the train slows down at curves, but the train didn't curve.
And then Granny dies because the train runs past the territory she's supposed to stay in.
She fucking blows up.
And then the schoolgirls fly out of Granny.
Makes sense. Momo's grandma later tells them that for some reason Turbo Granny would console the spirits of dead girls who met horrible deaths.
But she was a bitch earlier.
Mom's grandma starts trying to preach that the living shouldn't mock the dead, as if there was some kind of theme to all this nonsense. For some reason. And then Momo starts low-key crying for some reason.
Back at their house, Momo's grandma asks to see Ken's dick for some reason.
And then Ken and Momo say goodbye and then repeat saying goodbye by themselves multiple times for some good reason. If for some reason you enjoyed this video, then subscribe, because I'm likely never gonna make another one like it again.